thank you everyone, participants, speakers, to make time for day one of the second edition of Hydropower Africa. Today, we've heard the speakers and come to a conclusion that we stand resilient and ready to build sustainable economies powered by carbon-free electric grid. Today, we brought together leading thought leaders, decision makers, and innovators for this virtual summit to share their experiences and lessons learned and determine priorities and action plan for hydropower development in Africa. As we look to the future, the hydropower industry, hydro utilities, and dam owners are searching for new and innovative ways to inspect, maintain, operate, and manage their systems. New technologies and tools are constantly under development in the area of hydrology, operations and planning, inspection and maintaining powerhouse equipments, and surveillance and monitoring of dams and civil structures. There are also new methods and techniques to be considered for emergency operation management and environmental constraints. Innovative solutions and technologies that have been tried and tested were showcased today, and attendees gained an understanding of the new developments in the field of hydropower. That said, we understood that finances will be available only once the risks are clear. The government supporting the project has to be clear on the data regarding the project, has to be corruption free, there has to be the foreign exchange risk has to be managed, and other environmental concerns need to be managed. This is because various risks in hydropower and governmental actions in response to these risks could lead to claims, substantial damages, including expropriation, breach of fair and equitable treatment, legitimate expectations of the investor, or plainly the investment being written off. This second edition has proven a professional venue for businesses and government representatives to exchange experience, consolidate efforts for successful development of investment projects on construction and reconstruction and modernization of hydropower plants in the region. The conference has proved a useful floor to discuss these new models, risks, claim management strategies, and drive innovation and advance sustainable hydrocarbon outcome for communities and environment, further to urgent demands across the sector to increase installed capacity and meet global net zero emissions. I would like to thank everyone for giving us this opportunity to be knowledge partners for this conference, and I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow on our next session, where we would be discussing claim managements in hydro projects.
Good evening and good afternoon, everyone, with us today. We have had 2 eventful days on one of the most topical subjects of the day. We have been talking about global decarbonization for quite some time, and everyone is in consensus that it cannot be achieved without a large element of hydropower. When states, investors, developers, and communities ideate about hydropower projects, the associated risks are what shoots at the forefront as a reflex. However, it has indeed been refreshing that what we saw at this conference, while we did see these risks at length, we saw more of the solutions as well as opportunities. This is a very strong indication of a favorable market environment for hydropower from all the parties in Africa. The business and the government representatives at the conference exchanged ideas, solutions, and opportunities to de-risk the sector and build for improving access to electricity, build to meet the decarbonization goals and that of the sustainable development goals, build to earn long-term profits. Innovative solutions and technologies that have been tried and tested were showcased, and the attendees gained an understanding of the new developments in the field of hydropower. For me, the key takeaways have been that the development financial institutions lay emphasis on the environmental and social impact. Therefore, the related data collection and ESI for the robust assessment would require much more attention than given right now. Second would be development and deployment of the new technologies to reduce the risks. We've seen so many new platforms, so many new technologies coming in to reduce the environmental impact, to fasten the working of all the equipments used. That would really be key for a smooth implementation. Another thing which I was really happy to see was that small hydro is cementing its ground and could really be used to improve electricity access to all the rural areas in Africa. Additionally, as we saw, adopting international standards for contracting, documentation, and project implementation would really be necessary. A hydropower construction contract is and should operate as a valuable project management tool. Another thing, what both the developers as well as the ministry representatives noted, and it is commendable to see, and the key is that sovereign support will play a very important role in mitigating all these risks and resolving them. All supports in terms of getting the concessions to maybe taking a little care of the political unrest and not dealing, not withholding unreasonably the approval, they will all resolve these risks and would be comforting for the investors as well. Investors, developers, and industry participants together are organizing the financing structures, after all, for sustainable growth and efforts, and these efforts have culminated into various funding models. There are, as we saw at the conference, there are two main categories, one by the sovereign, like the World Bank model or the Chinese model or the Green Bonds Initiative. And second is the revenue generated from the assets, like the IPP model, the PPA, the project finance, etc. Lastly, adopting best practices for dispute avoidance, and in the event the dispute arises, best practices for dispute resolution. That would be the key to achieve estimated profits, incur only estimated costs, and achieve completion in the estimated timeline. The target is to bridge the gap and tap upon Africa's abundant potential in hydropower. Pursuant to the same, the countries on the African continent can address fundamental challenges to energy access, energy security, and climate change. Thank you. Thank you so much.